the CyberHub bunker and studio, you're tuning in to the CyberHub Podcast. And now for your host and CISO, James Azar.
Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the CyberHub Podcast. It's Wednesday, July 20th, 2022. We've got a packed show for you. So yesterday we had a little audio problems with the live feed. The audio podcast is live and available on your favorite podcast listening platform. Go check it out. You don't want to miss it. All right. With that being said, we're going to get into today's show because we've got a lot to talk about, including an Oracle patch, a whole slew of stuff around ransomwares, and China targets Belgium. China continues to be the nuisance globally when it comes to cybersecurity. All that and more on today's show. But before we do that and kick it right in, my trusty double espresso, whatever you're drinking this morning, I hope you enjoy it. I hope it powers you through this Wednesday and towards the end of this week. Coffee cup cheers. Let's get an Oracle that's releasing 349 new security patches with the July 2022 CPU. Oracle on Tuesday announced that it had a total of 349 new security patches that have been released as part of its July 2022 critical patch update, including 230 vulnerabilities that can be exploited by remote, unauthenticated attacker. It's huge. This month's CPU includes security patches for 64 critical severity vulnerabilities, including 4 that have a CVSS score of 10. Of the remaining fixes, over 20 address vulnerabilities that have a CVSS score of between 8 and 9. The same as in April of 2022, Oracle has continued to release patches that address CVE 2022-22965, the critical remote code execution flaw in the Spring framework known as Spring for Shell and Spring Shell. Oracle Communications was the second most impacted product with 56 security patches, including 45 for bug exploitable remotely by an unauthenticated attacker, which leads me to believe either there's no QA at Oracle or there's very poor QA at Oracle. One of the two. An unpatched GPS tracker security bug threatens 1.5 million vehicles with disruption. The GPS device from Micadis has 6 security bugs that could allow attackers to monitor 1.5 million vehicles that use the tracker or even remotely disable the vehicles in what's kind of the show of all things smart. BitSight stated in a Tuesday advisory that the device, the Microdas MV720, has vulnerabilities in both the device and the backend service. These pave the way for a man-in-the-middle attack, authentication bypass, and location tracking. The vulnerabilities include a hard-coded device password that allows access via SMS request and a default password on the API server. The exploitation of these vulnerabilities could have disastrous and even life-threatening implications. An example of that, according to BitSight, is an attacker could exploit some of the vulnerabilities to get fuel to an entire fleet of commercial or emergency vehicles, or the attacker could leverage GPS information to monitor and abruptly stop vehicles on dangerous highways. The vulnerabilities include a hard-coded password that could allow commands to be sent to the devices, the ability to use administrator privileges for commands, and a default password of, you guessed it, 12345. 6. Flaws of lesser severity include a reflected cross-site scripting issue and the ability to directly access parts of the application. Several CVEs here: 2022, 2107, 2141, 219er, 34150, and 339er44. The default password security weakness was not considered a vulnerability, so it didn't get a CVE. The bug is unpatched and is likely to cause some disruption if threat actors decide to take advantage of it. The Luna ransomware is encrypting Windows, Linux, and ESXi machines all indiscriminately, according to a report from Kaspersky. The new ransomware family that's been dubbed Luna can be used to encrypt devices running several OSs, including Windows, Linux, and ESXi. It was discovered by Kaspersky researchers through a dark web ransomware format spotted by the company's darknet threat Intel Active Monitoring System. It appears to be specifically tailored to be used by Russian-speaking threat actors. The advertisement states that Luna only works with Russian-speaking affiliates. Also, the ransom note hard-coded inside the binary contains spelling mistakes. For example, it says a little team instead of a small team, etc. Because of this, we assume with medium confidence that the actors behind Luna are speakers of Russian. Luna, which is Russian for moon, is a very simple ransomware under development with limited capability based on the available command lines. However, it's a not so common encryption scheme combining fast and secure X25519er elliptic curve Diffie-Hellman key exchange using curve 25519er with the advanced encryption standard symmetric encryption algorithm. It's a Rust-based ransomware, so we're seeing more of these show up. The DOJ seized ransom paid by health centers in Kansas and Colorado after a 2021 attack. Deputy Attorney General Lisa Monaco said the Justice Department seized and returned about $500,000 paid to a ransom group connected to the North Korean government after 2 attacks on U.S. healthcare facilities last year. Tuesday at the International Conference on Cybersecurity at Fordham University, said that the Maui ransomware deployed by North Korean hackers was used to attack a medical center in Kansas and a healthcare organization in Colorado. Government agencies in recent weeks issued warnings about Maui, which have not yet been widely tracked by cybersecurity experts. Well, they got the money back, and that's really that. And obviously, they're laundering money through China because that's how it all goes, folks. Keep our eye there. Hacking group 8220 grows cloud botnet to more than 30,000 hosts. The crypto mining gang known as 8220 gang has been exploiting Linux and cloud app vulnerabilities to grow their botnet to more than 30,000 infected hosts. The group is a low-skilled, financially motivated actor that infects AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, Aliton, and Q Cloud hosts after targeting publicly available systems running vulnerable versions of Docker, Redis, Confluence, and Apache. They've relied on a publicly available exploit to compromise Confluence servers. After gaining access, the attackers use an SSH brute forcing to spread further and hijack available computational resources to run crypto miners, pointing to untraceable pools. They've been active since at least 2017. This has a financial impact on an organization worth looking and investigating any SSH brute forcing because that's really their MO. And finally, Belgium says that Chinese APTs targeted interior and defense ministers, according to Belgium on Monday, which accused Chinese state-sponsored hackers of launching cyber attacks against its interior and defense ministries. Belgium said that the hacking groups APT 27, 30, 31, and Gallium are all part of the threat. They've detected malicious cyber activity that targeted the FPS interior. These activities can be linked to the hacker group known as APT 27, APT 30, APT 31. We've detected malicious cyber activities that targeted the Belgian defense. These activities can be linked to the hacker group known as UNSC 2814 Gallium or Soft Cell, according to Belgium. In their statement, Belgium urged China to adhere to the norms of responsible state behavior. You know, when the Europeans understand that tyrannical regimes run by communists won't do that, that'll be the day, right? So the Chinese embassy in Belgium denied the accusations, claiming there's no evidence of it. China itself is a victim of cyber attacks, according to them. All right. Sorry, I can't help but laugh. The Chinese propaganda is by far one of the greater things when they have their embassy employees just out there just saying this stuff. So anyways, Belgium has put China on notice. China denies, but guess what? China's been put on notice. Folks, that's it for our show today. We'll be back with a lot more tomorrow to wrap up this week and so much more. Until then, have a great rest of your day. And most importantly, stay cyber safe.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast